Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Military Surplus Firearm Collecting. I'm Mike B, and today we're going to be talking about probably the most important subject within this entire subject itself. So I'm going to make a kind of sub-series within the series about research and how to do it, what to use for research, methods, techniques, things that won't help you, things that will help you, and all that stuff. This is going to be the intro video. I'm just going to kind of lay the groundwork for the more detailed videos that will be coming subsequently. I'm just using these as a kind of prop. It's kind of gun porn. It's really fun. I'm going to let you guys guess and figure out what each one of these are. And if you've done the research, you'll be able to identify at least half of these. Even if you haven't, you should be able to identify one or two. But really, anyway, so research is extremely important with anything historical. If you have ever gone to college and you've taken even one history class, in your History 101, you'll know that history is not just about knowing names and dates. All that stuff's written down. Same thing with guns. It's not knowing about, the model and the caliber. Like, that's all written down. It's a lot of times it's on the gun itself. You gotta know the history. You gotta understand the why and the how. And you have to compile a bunch of facts and things and also anecdotal evidence too, which I'll be discussing all this stuff. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't panic. It'll be all will be revealed in due time. But anyway, it's extremely it's exactly like historical research, because it is historical research a lot of times. Also with firearms, it's a tool, so you have this other kind of genre of research that you need to do about mechanical workings and stuff and how the firearm actually works. You need to do research on disassembly, reassembly, cleaning, maintenance, things like that. So it gets a little bit more in depth because it is such a niche subject within history. And, so with that, there are several different things that you need to consider as a newer collector, or even as an intermediate collector. Intermediate, I mean that maybe you've been doing it casually for a few years and you know a little bit, but you really never delved into it. But if a nice surplus gun kind of comes your way, you've got some cash, you'll throw your money that way, but you just never really got into the rabbit hole. So that's what I mean by intermediate collector, which I was like that for a while, and so were a lot of my friends, and then we kind of took the next step. Now, when I went from being kind of a novice, well, actually, no, I even started at them, but I definitely didn't do it in the right order. So this whole series is going to be me just telling you about my experience to help you not make mistakes and to carry on what has worked well for me and my friends. So that's what the whole point of this series is, if you haven't figured that out yet. So basically, I did it in kind of at the same time. I did it simultaneously. And that's why, I made the video on, I got screwed because I didn't know about a certain firearm. And, I screwed myself. Well, I'm definitely taking the blame for that one. And that was just because I didn't do enough research. I was hasty and I didn't buy any literature, which is going to be a video that I'm going to make. It'll probably actually be the next video on my number one kind of recommendation for what kind of sources you should definitely invest in. And I'll basically just say this as a blanket statement. If you want to get into collecting, which is, you got to have pretty deep pockets nowadays. It's not exactly, as fun as it was. It's just, it's like old cars, it's now collectible. They're not really cheap to get and, enjoy. So if you want to do that, my recommendation that I was told by an older guy when I started taking the next step in collecting is, if you want to start, spend your first $1,000 on research material, literature. Good stuff that's recommended by people like myself and other serious collectors, and most of this literature and these reference materials were written by experienced collectors of a long time, and there are very few errors that I've noticed. They're still humans, but for the most part, you're going to be looking at really accurate, consistent information. Now, $1,000 might seem like a lot, but what he finished that statement with was, it's money in the bank. So it's investing. It's investing so you don't screw yourself and potentially make a mistake by overlooking something or not knowing what you have, or pass something up that is extremely valuable and you don't pick up on the markings or whatever. That's another scenario for why research is extremely important. There's been some friends of mine and myself who have done this, and kind of, it is what it is. It's part of the hobby, but if we would have just spent a little bit more time researching instead of getting all excited and stuff, and then, this is catching my eye and I'm just going to throw this one down, when, the one that we threw down definitely was worth a lot more and was more extremely rare. That scenario has happened to me quite a bit. It's happened to my friends as well. Alden, I think that's happened to him. But you know what? You live and learn. And I'm still pretty young. I've only been doing this for about, well, really for about 18 years. I'd just say close to 20. But I still consider myself, I'd say an advanced intermediate collector. How about that, if you want to go that way? I'm not an advanced collector, but I'm intermediate. Now, I've got a ton of research avenues. I've got a lot of resources. And again, on these videos, here's the thing is I want to keep these videos around 10 minutes or less in this series. So if I were to go through how to do research, what to get, little hidey holes of information, and techniques on how to do research, it would take an hour and a half. So that's why I said I'm going to break this up into several videos. I just wanted to let you know that this will be happening, and this is probably something that you're going to want to pay attention to, even if you're an intermediate collector. The biggest thing about this kind of hobby and history in general is you will never be done learning. And if you think you are wrong. So there's a never-ending supply of research, and there's people writing things every day. There's information being exchanged with the internet now. So yeah, I'm just kind of alluding to what this series is going to be. So anyway, this is something, if you haven't been paying attention to every single video and you're getting into collecting, this is going to be a sub-series that you're definitely going to want to follow. And it's actually it's not as hard as you'd think either. It's just time consuming, and you have to be patient, and you have to also be able to kind of figure out fact from bullshit, if you know what I'm saying, which I'll make a video on as well. So all these little things, I'm just laying the groundwork and also reminding myself what to do in order, or relative order, in this series. So anyway, I'll leave, this one's going to be pretty short. It's just kind of laying the groundwork, and it's the breaking the ice for this actual subtopic. So all right. Anyway, if you're enjoying the series and you enjoy my channel, please consider supporting my work on Patreon. The link to that is in the description. It's $1 a month. $5 a month or more gets you into my Discord server, which is pretty damn fun, I think. We got a lot of good information being exchanged, and we have some pretty funny conversations. So it really does help support the channel, like with ballistic tests. I want to get into body armor ballistic tests, which are really expensive. Helps fund different cool firearms, like you've seen maybe in the past videos that were funded by Patreon supporters, so I can make educational videos. You name it. I mean, I can only fund so much of the material out of pocket, which limits my ability to make videos on certain topics. But with Patreon support, it really allows me to expand and be able to give you guys a piece of tangible history within a video, learning about it, because that's how I learn, is not just looking at pictures of something, but actually seeing. So that's what it looks like when somebody physically holds this, you know. All right, if you made it this far, I'm gonna give you a little treat. So for those of you, because I know there's gonna be a bunch of people in the comments, it's this gun and that gun and so this is to see if you actually made it to the end. A little fun game. This is a Colt model 1917 revolver, double action revolver in 45 ACP. This is a Daewoo, or South Korean Daewoo DP51 in 9mm. This is a Spanish Star Model S in 380 ACP. A German P.1 Luger in 919. This is a Polish Tokarev in 7.62 by 25, and this is a Soviet 1895 Nagant revolver in 7.62 by 38 rimmed. So there you go, you guys got that. Thank you for sticking around for the entire video. If you can't support the channel on Patreon, you're doing enough by just watching and commenting. I do really appreciate that. Hopefully you're learning something. If you got any questions, I'll try to answer them. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just an average dude who appreciates military surplus firearms and basically anything else military surplus and history. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you hopefully on the next sub-series video within this series, military surplus firearm collecting, and this is going to be research. So thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.